Last year, my e-commerce store did about 2.5 million in revenue from selling fireplaces, fire pits, and heating products online. And the crazy part is, I don't own a warehouse, I don't manufacture any products, and my team is only 3 people. But this business definitely didn't start out that way. A few years ago, I was actually working a corporate job, and before that, I worked a bunch of random jobs growing up, like McDonald's, bakeries, and things like that. And like a lot of people, I kind of just assumed that that was the path. Go to college, get a good job, and everything would work itself out. But when I actually got my first corporate job, I realized pretty quickly that this is not what I wanted to spend the next 40 years doing. Around that time, I started experimenting with different business ideas, and my first real attempt at a business was a scrunchie brand. After the first year, I made about $1,000 in total doing that, so I knew it just wasn't going to pay my bills, and I had to try something new, which wasn't exactly the huge success I was looking for. And honestly, I had a lot of moments where I thought entrepreneurship just wasn't going to work for me. At one point, I remember calling a friend and literally crying because I felt like I had sacrificed so much time and effort and it just wasn't working. But later that year, I eventually discovered a business model called high-ticket e-commerce. Instead of selling $10 products and making a few dollars per sale, you sell high-value products where a single sale can generate you hundreds of dollars in profit. In this video, I'm gonna break down how this business model actually works, how my fireplace business started, and why high-ticket dropshipping is one of the most underrated opportunities online today. For me, I decided to test a niche related to fireplaces. I launched the business right around the beginning of COVID, which at the time felt like terrible timing, but it actually ended up being the complete opposite because everyone was at home suddenly stuck redoing their backyards and investing heavily into their homes. And that led to the business growing really fast. In the first 8 months, we did about $800,000 in revenue, which is insane considering my previous business made about $1,000 the year prior. Most of our customers are homeowners, basically anyone that wants to incorporate a fire element into a space. And the business model itself is actually pretty simple. We partner with existing manufacturers and become authorized online dealers for their products. And if you think about it, this is basically how Home Depot works. Home Depot sells tons of brands, but they don't actually manufacture most of the products themselves. They act as a retailer. That's essentially what we're doing, just online. When someone orders from the website, the manufacturer ships the product directly from their warehouse. High-ticket dropshipping works the same, but the math is very different. In traditional e-commerce, you might sell a product for $20 and only profit about $5. That means you need to sell thousands of orders to really make a meaningful amount of profit. But with high ticket, one sale could be worth thousands of dollars in profit. So instead of chasing millions of customers, you only need the right customers. Now, the question people usually ask is, okay, but how do you get these customers to your website? Because you can build a perfect e-commerce store and have great products, but none of that matters if nobody knows your store exists. And this is where a lot of e-commerce businesses struggle. Most rely heavily on paid ads, things like Facebook ads or Google ads, but over time, the ads get more and more expensive. I've definitely felt this myself. So one of the biggest growth drivers for my business ended up being SEO, search engine optimization. Last year, we did about $700,000 in revenue from Google organic search alone, which means customers are literally finding our business by searching on Google. Now, when we get into niche selection, fireplaces are just one example of a high-ticket niche. There are tons of industries like this. For example, saunas, cold plunges, golf simulators, outdoor kitchens. So let's take the home sauna niche, for example. Over the last few years, the sauna industry has exploded. A lot of that comes from the rise of things like cold plunges, longevity content, and biohacking. Somebody searches something like best home sauna or infrared sauna for home or outdoor sauna kit. When someone searches these terms, you want your website to appear at the top. That traffic is incredibly valuable because it's free. And most e-commerce businesses rely heavily on paid ads to get that same traffic. Things like paid per click ads, Google ads, Facebook ads, and TikTok. And in our case, we saw our cost per click increasing year over year. So it was getting to a point where we really needed to learn SEO. Now, if you go online and look at saunas right now, you'll notice something really interesting. Many of them are selling for $2,000, $4,000, and sometimes even $10,000. Just like fireplaces, these are high-ticket products. Now, let's say you use a keyword research tool like Keywords Everywhere. Now type in home sauna, outdoor sauna kit, or infrared sauna for home. You're gonna see that there's tons of people searching for these products, which means that there's real demand. But when you look at many of the websites selling saunas, a lot of them are surprisingly outdated. Some of them are just manufacturer websites, others are small e-commerce stores that haven't really untapped their own marketing. And this is where the opportunity appears. Because if somebody builds a modern e-commerce brand around a niche like this, they can compete through things like better SEO, better product pages, better content, and overall better customer education. For example, if someone's gonna spend $4,000 on a sauna, they're probably gonna wanna research which sauna brand is best, infrared versus traditional sauna, indoor versus outdoor sauna, and the installation requirements. So a smart e-commerce business would create content around answering those types of questions. Things like buying guides, comparison articles, YouTube videos, and educational blog posts. And if your website becomes the place to go to learn about saunas, you'll naturally become the place to buy saunas as well. All right, guys, so we're actually gonna go through a real life example right now. For this particular shop, it's looking pretty professional. As we can see, we have their most popular categories. For them, they have custom saunas, indoor saunas, outdoor saunas, sauna heaters, and infrared saunas. So they have a basic collection list right here. Then it looks like they're doing some social media stuff, which is really cool. Again, talking about how to differentiate yourself from other dropshippers. Doing things like short form content is a great place to show up, where not a lot of other high ticket retailers are showing up as well. Then we have kind of some benefits to why you should shop with them: industry leading, reliable, expert support, and top rated, all pretty strong. They say that they've been around since 2004, which is really impressive. Honestly, this might mean that they're actually carrying inventory, which is something you guys could eventually do one day, is instead of being a dropship model, is actually carrying the inventory yourself. So yeah, let's actually get into some of the brands that they're carrying. Harvia is clearly one of their sauna heaters. I would say because of the placement it has on their homepage, they're probably selling a lot of it, and it's probably one of their best-selling brands. When we scroll down, we see another brand and basically the models that they're highlighting in this other brand as well. Finally, it looks to be like some sort of, let's actually just play this video real quick.
Hi guys, I'm Hans Lorite. I'm a designer based in Nashville. I show people on social media how to make their space more interesting, and this is something that I've wanted.
Okay, really cool. So they're actually doing some sort of like influencer collaboration with a sauna designer. So super unique, and yeah, this is definitely like a high quality example. So I'm really glad we found this one. Then they have sauna by capacity. So again, guys, talking about how you're gonna market your business, you wanna think about how people shop. So in this section, they kind of know most of their customers are shopping for two-person saunas. So they've created a collection specifically focusing on that. Also, from like an SEO perspective, it's going to show that this collection has high importance on their internal linking, which is another topic for another day. But basically, your most important collection pages you wanna have up front in your homepage. And again, they're showcasing a 6-person sauna, so those might be the most popular ways people buy. And last but not least, they're showcasing the brands they sell. Remember guys, in this business model, you're going to be a retailer for other brands. So you're gonna create manufacturer partnerships. And right here, they're literally showing you all the manufacturer partnerships they have. So I think there's 10 here, but then if we hit show all, okay, so it looks like they have about 23 brands total on their website. So that's plenty when it comes to this business model. You're gonna wanna make sure that it's an 80-20 rule. So 80% of your orders are gonna come from your top 20% of brands. Yes, it's important to always get new brands on board, but you also don't wanna have too many brands where you're not actually investing marketing resources into getting customers to see each brand. And last but not least, they have their reviews, which is really cool. Obviously, they're pretty recent too, which shows a good sign that they're actually having people buy from their website. About 238 Google reviews, super solid. So yeah, I mean, this is a great example. They're doing some really unique things that I think a lot of other high ticket drop shippers in this space of saunas aren't doing, like the influencer collaborations, the way that they're formatting their collection pages, and overall it's just a really clean website. So great example to look at, and hopefully this helps you guys tangibly see what a high ticket drop shipping store can be. So another great trending example of a high ticket niche would be cold plunges. So I found a cold plunge store here, and I'm gonna point out a few things that I really like that they're doing. First things first, I have the call out. So yeah, they're saying America's largest cold plunge selection, 10+ years of experience. All these things are really helping to build consumer trust and to understand that this is a real business, not just some random dropship store. So that really is important when you're selling high ticket products, because obviously people are trusting you with a lot of money. Then they go showcase some of their products, which by the look of it is probably their best sellers. Then as we scroll down, we get into the blog, which is exactly what I was saying earlier in this video. Education is going to be super important when it comes to high ticket, and they are actively trying to educate their customers on cold plunging, the benefits, and how to properly set up a cold plunge. Last but not least, they have their reviews, some good video testimonials, and then a form basically asking people to fill it out so that they can follow up and assist you with any of your cold plunging questions. Now let's actually look at a product page for them. So I like this product page because it's just super clean, super easy. There's the add to cart and the buy now button. No distraction, no gimmicks, nothing shaking. It's just super clean. The images look good. The description is nice. I like the tabs. However, I definitely think that they can improve their description from an SEO standpoint. This is definitely not SEO optimized. And if you guys are interested to know what that could look like, definitely comment below because I can make a video on what an SEO optimized product description looks like. And yeah, then they're again highlighting some of the benefits, free shipping, 1-year warranty, and then doing some call outs on the benefits of this particular products, its benefits, its features, and then it finishes off with FAQ and dimensions. So overall, really solid product page. I would just say for me personally, I'd like to see more SEO elements in there. But overall, guys, this is another great example of a niche and a store that's doing quite well in the space and something to think about when you're choosing your niche and actually building out your own store. And this is exactly how many high-ticket e-commerce businesses grow and differentiate themselves from just another drop shipper. You don't just sell products, but you become an authority in that niche. One thing I've done intentionally with this business is I keep a very lean team. Right now, we have an SEO specialist, a customer support rep, and a salesperson. My goal is to scale this business to $5 to $10 million with under 10 employees. So if you're thinking about starting an e-commerce business, you don't necessarily need to chase viral products. Sometimes the best opportunities are in industries where people are already spending thousands of dollars online and the buying experience isn't fully optimized yet. I actually cover 8 strategies about how to rank your Shopify store in ChatGPT. You can watch this video right here. And if you're interested in growing your existing Shopify store, make sure to subscribe because I'll be posting a lot more videos coming up. All right, see you guys. Bye. Time to surf.